Welcome back to the Source Garage. This is going to be a two-part video on doing salt removal, obviously in the winter. And I wanted to do two different things here. One, I wanted to use ONR with the big red sponge and see if pre-treating makes a difference. So I'm going to pre-treat one area and not another, and see if using the big red sponge, how effective the big red sponge is at salt removal, and if pre-treating helps it. I know it's not the theoretically best way to use the multiple microfiber, multiple mitt to ensure there's absolutely no reintroduction of contaminants, but this is not a pristine vehicle and I'm not concerned with that. So this is maybe just to see if you have a less than perfect vehicle you don't care about as much. Do I need to use 20 microfibers versus can I just go around with the big red sponge and get it clean? I just wanted to see if it makes a difference or not with pre-treating ONR and really zoom in on how effective it is at the salt removal. And then the second thing I wanted to do is compare the big red sponge here against using, on the other panel here I'll have taped off, is also using a microfiber and a wash mitt, and still same contamination on the side of the truck, and see if I can tell any difference between the cleanliness of any of the areas, again still just using ONR. So first I'm going to zoom in here, give you a look at the contaminants on here, and then pre-treat and let it sit for a minute, and then we'll do the test side by side here. So here's an up close look, so you can see the level of salt and contaminants on here. Got a bottle of ONR here mixed, so I'm going to spray this right side here. And now I'm going to let that sit for a couple minutes. I'm going to go ahead on this side, and I got a bucket here, ONR and the big red sponge, and I'm just going to run it down the side here, make sure I just use one side. And that's it. And now I'm going to give it just a minute before I go over to this side and do the same thing, and then we'll do a comparison. So it's been about 10 minutes now, so I'm going to show the differences between the two sides. So clearly you can see right there is where it was or was not hit by the sponge, obviously. And what I can see that's still left in the middle here is obviously some of the like road tar that ONR is not going to pull off. But as far as the salt goes, and I'll try and move around so you can see the different angles here, it looks like all of the salt is gone, at least that I can see on a surface level, and you can clearly see again the difference. Definitely still some contaminants on there, like I said, but it looks that all the salt is gone. And again, this was the non-pre-treated side. So now let's move over to the pre-treated side, which if the non-pre-treated side looked good, I would hope that this side is the same. So I think here's the line where you can see where it was or was not hit by the sponge. And again, on the right there, you're seeing a lot more, you see those black spots, road tar again. The big chip in the middle here, that's a paint chip, that is not a big chunk of salt left. And actually what I think I'm going to try to see if, I guess, judge the dirt, I'm going to grab a paper towel here and do a side-by-side wipe and see what comes off, and I'm not supposed to, but just out of curiosity. All right, so let's do the thing you're not supposed to do on a vehicle and take paper towel and wipe it down the side. See what happens here. And make sure that's in focus. Honestly, pretty clean. I think I got a little bit of the tar off, but nothing major. And I'd expect the same thing on the other side too. Well, that's weird. Got more dirt off on the other side. Right after seeing that, I'm gonna try this a bit higher on the panel on both sides and see if I get the same thing. That's really weird. I got a little spot on that side again. Yeah, a little spot in the middle there. But this side versus this, I mean, that's really interesting. So why I would get more dirt off the side that was pre-treated versus not? Well, since I came this far after seeing those interesting results with the paper towel, I guess, I mean, what I'm gonna do here now is I'm just gonna take the big red sponge and clean off both sections entirely now, I guess. So this side obviously has been sitting in O&R. You can still see it's wet. I'll even spray it again just for good measure. And I'll do a full comparison side by side after I finish here. Right, now I get the other side. In between each pass, I'm obviously scrubbing it off on the grit guard and the bucket here. All right. I'm gonna let that dry for a couple minutes and we'll see what it looks like. All right, so now let's do the same test again, taking a paper towel. So now that huge spot, the camera will focus here, is from me rubbing up right under the edge of the railing here. Other than that, I mean, there's still light contaminants on here. So let's try the other side. And it's looking about the same. Again, that really dark spot's from getting my finger up under the edge, but there's definitely still some dirt coming off for soilage. So we're not getting all the contaminants off there with O&R and the big red sponge, at least. Even though it absolutely looked like it in the camera, you can tell that it's definitely not if you just look at the paper towel. All right, so I guess to sort of wrap this segment up on pre-treated or not and using O&R and the big red sponge as a form of salt removal, I mean, it was effective for sure, and at least it looks like it on camera at removing the vast majority of the salt. And I wouldn't see necessarily the salt come off on the paper towel, obviously it being white, but if we're going by the dirt, you would think it's mixed in with the salt, making it brown or black or whatever, that obviously came off on the paper towel from both sides. You would say that we did not effectively clean the bottom parts of the panels here just using O&R and the big red sponge. And O&R is not, I guess, claimed necessarily as a heavy soilage or heavy duty body soap. It's for a quick light decontamination. But if I were to use it for, I guess, salt removal in this instance, this was only about I think a week of buildup from the last snow we had, and I've driven it most days. I would not say it's an effective way to remove everything. If you just want a quick maintenance wash to get the salt off of it, yeah, it seemed to do a pretty decent job. But along the bottom here, where we're actually trying to remove more of the contaminants, it definitely has not removed all of it. So that's what the next part of the next video I'm going to do. I'm going to try using a microfiber and a wash mitt. We're going to do 2 other segments with the O&R still, and then I guess now I'm going to try using a body soap, some bodywork shampoo from Pinnacle. It's an actual body wash, and I'll do the same test with a paper towel across the bottom and see if by some chance it maybe turns out better or it's the same, and I don't know. That's what I'm doing all this for, to try and figure it out. So thanks for following along.